Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art and Talk's Impression Show. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Impression. Art and Talk is all about meeting artists and being inspired. We're excited today to bring you a new genre, the art of comedy. Our guest for today is a Chicago born comedian and writer, and we'll be exploring her passion for comedy. And she'll also be performing a mini comedy stand up. So, again, thank you for being with us. I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Akua Doku. Hi, Akua, welcome.
Hi, nice to be here, Leslie.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, and we're excited to explore this whole new area on Art and Talk's impression show, the art of comedy. I'm wondering, Aquia, in 2017, what was the turning point? Was there a hallmark moment in that particular year? Was there a series of events that occurred that led you to decide to pursue this direction and have the drive and focus to really explore this passion of yours in comedy?
Yeah, well, I used to be a slam poet many years ago, and I really kind of miss performing, but I wanted to do a different format of artistry. And I had a full-time job working, and I was just making jokes a lot at the job. And I just joked and say, oh, my next career is going to be a stand-up comedian. And one of my coworkers said, no, it's not. And I don't know, I thought, well, you know what? Maybe it should be then. I remember a month after she said that, I went to an open mic, did a couple of jokes, some landed, some did not. So I decided to go to an open mic in December 2017. I did a few jokes. Some landed, some didn't, but I was pretty much hooked after that and just started my comedy career.
So it sounds like it kind of happened organically and spontaneously. You mentioned that in your workplace, and it seems like you were kind of sparked by this coworker that was kind of like, yeah, yeah, right. It kind of gave you the impetus to say, yeah, I can do this.
Yes, pretty much. And I'd really just miss performing. It's always been like a great outlet for me in terms of ideas and things I wanted to do. And I really do like writing. So I was like, and I just felt like I wanted to laugh more. I just felt I was in a place where I didn't want to be upset or angry or anything. I just wanted to laugh and see people laugh. And so I just thought this would be good for me.
Hmm. And Aquia, when you were a child, did you look at things in a funny perspective? Did you make like your family and schoolmates laugh? Did any of that interplay at that particular age?
Sometimes, but I think I've always been influenced by comedians. Like the earliest comedians I came across was George Carlin, Sinbad, Chris Rock. So, you know, there's been so many kind of influential people that I've always grown up seeing, whether on television, TV shows like Marsha Warfield, Night Court, like a lot of reruns, old shows I've seen that just really whenever you just felt down and you watched them, you felt better and felt good about yourself. And so I think that also had an influence. Like, even if I didn't know I wanted to be a comedian, I knew how much those comedians influenced my life, whether I would quote things that they did in my daily life or, be inspired by the work of other comedians to kind of be aware of my surroundings. Because George Carlin, I didn't know what he was in his previous before like he manifested himself into what I remember him being, where he would challenge the establishment, challenge society and politics. That's George Carlin I remember. But of course, he started his career in a different phase than what he ended before he left. So I just feel like a lot of ideologies I thought about and looked into was always inspired by comedians. So
And your writing and your comedy performance, what are the areas that you like to tackle? Like, do you like to go into like political areas? Do you like to go into relationships? Do you like to go into like, global events? What are the areas that you like to talk about?
I usually talk about my family, myself. especially during the pandemic, I did a lot of like TV watching. So I talk about episodes and TV series I've come across. I do some political stuff, which it's always a little tricky because of the political climate here in the United States. Can be a little tricky, but I still go there. But it's just interesting, because especially with my family, the more I learn about them, the more I kind of talk about them, because I just sometimes get these facts. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know this was happening in my family, and then I put it in the comedy. So it's it's just anything I find interesting or just willing to talk about. I just saw a documentary about politics and how our elections could be influenced by people who have money. And so I've just written a bit about that. So it's anything I feel like, it's just, I feel like I want to like dive into and just kind of think about and see if anyone else thinks the way I'm thinking, or just like, oh, you're over the top. You might not be right. What you're seeing. But yeah, anything I find intriguing, I love to talk about.
So you're really pulling from a lot of different pools, a lot of different areas, something that just kind of sparks you and you find interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this would be a great moment. We're gonna pass the mic, so to speak, on to you and just let you do your thing.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Uh, all right. My name is Akua Doku. I know it can be a very difficult name to pronounce, so I'm thinking about using an easier name, and my top choice is Oprah. Um, I my family is from West Africa, Ghana, but I actually was born here in the States. And it's been a while since I've been back to Ghana, about 10 years. And I attribute this to two reasons. One, the vaccines. Every time I go back to Ghana, I gotta get vaccinated for something, whether it's tetanus, yellow fever, Fox News, gotta do it. The second thing is my family. For some reason, they think the numbers in my bank account matches the numbers in the bank account of Elon Musk. Okay. Like some people go back and visit their family. They may take like a bathing suit to go to the beach, or they may take like an outfit to go to a club. When we go back, we actually take our family gifts of survival, like clothes, shoes, books on how to stop colonizers, the good stuff. And look, I think the stuff we give them is actually pretty cool. Like we might give them something from Calvin Klein, but there's always like one person who's going to be like, oh, how about Louis Vuitton? I'm like, Louis Vuitton? I am standing in front of you wearing a shirt I bought from Amazon.com. What are you talking about? I'm telling you. And I actually once had a cousin ask me for an iPhone, and I was like, an iPhone? Dude, I'm looking at my Android 5. It's still at a store, sir. My Android 5G is still at the store, okay? If I want to see it, I got to go online. So, no. And I'm like, look, I know it may sound like I don't want to help my family out. That is not the case. I have no problem helping out the family. It's just, it's hard for me to kind of help them get like a 4-bedroom home in Ghana while I'm here in the United States, uh, sleeping in the studio the size of a toilet. It's hard, right? But I do have a big family. It's huge. And every time I talk to a relative, my family just gets bigger. I found out I had an uncle back in Ghana who has 18 kids. I was like, 18 kids? Are you sure he's not from the United States? Like, come on now. Those sound like US baby daddy numbers, okay? And that's when I realized if I ever go back to Ghana and meet a guy, our first order of business is a DNA test, okay? Because look, my family can tolerate a lot of things from me, but dating my first cousin, no, okay? We're not rich, we're not royalty, and we're not from the South. So, no. The next thing is, I was just like, but now if I wanted to marry 5 men at the same time, that's perfectly fine. That's fine. Because if a few of them leave me, technically I'm still married. So that is a successful relationship. Okay. Besides, my grandfather back in Ghana was village of chief of his village. And when he was alive, he actually was married to 5 women all at the same time. And I was shocked because I thought it was four. But my father, he corrected me. He said, "No, you had 5 grandmothers." And I was like, "Okay, pops, I will make sure from now on I recognize all of them." Okay, but I think the pandemic was pretty much hard on everybody. But one good thing that happened to me during the pandemic is I was able to pay off my student loans, which I was very happy about. Um, I thought it would take like 10 years to do. It took about 50. But I realized one thing, I should have probably waited a little bit longer because then I could have got at least $10,000 of it forgiven. That's when I realized sometimes it's best not to be ambitious. That maybe I should really invest in procrastination. I really should. But I mean, I won't lie. Ever since I got the loan for my college degree, I always thought, wow, I can't believe financial aid gave me, a 17-year-old kid, $50,000 to get a degree. I was like, I wonder if they knew what my degree was going to be in, if they would have given me that money at all. If they had seen my application, be like, okay, who's this for? Akua Doku? All right, how much does she want? $50,000. Okay, what's her degree in? Exercise science. Exercise science. What's that? Oh, they're just going to teach her how to exercise. All right, give her 50. 50 what? $50. That's all she can pay back. you know? But then I won't lie, I was super happy when I finally paid off my student loans. For 1 month, every week, I just made sure the number said zero. I would go back and check because I was like, I do not want to get an email, a letter, a note from a pigeon talking about, oh, Miss Doku, Miss Doku. Okay, okay. So here's what's going on. We were doing some recalculations and we found out that you actually still owe us another $50,000. I'd have been like, nope, 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 nope. You got the wrong Doku. You're looking for someone else. You must be looking for Sudoku. That's who you're looking for. She's the one who dealing mixed up numbers. That's not me. That's not me. Um, but yeah, I was just not ready for that conversation. But I did try to get forgiven before Biden, and I didn't qualify for anything. I tried to base it off my income, but I made more than $7 an hour. I just wasn't poor enough. And I tried to I even thought about faking my death. I did, but I was like, "Ah, that's ridiculous. You don't want to fake your death. You want people to know you're still alive." um, but I actually got that idea from a woman in Texas. Shock. um, I went to Texas to perform, and after the performance I was talking to this lady and telling her how much I hate paying for my student loans. And out of the blue, she says, you could disappear, right? I was like, oh, like disappear with a coat? What are you talking about? And she was like, yeah, I had a friend who faked their death, went to Mexico, and they didn't have to pay their student loans. And I just thought to myself, if I keep talking to her, will I catch a felony? Like what? What is happening here? I was like, if I turn around, will I see the FBI? What? I don't know what's going on. And that's when I realized the financial aid system in the United States is it's in real trouble. Because when people are using the same tactics to get out of paying their loans that other people are using to get out of being the mob for snitching, we got problems, people. We got problems. But I believed her. I absolutely believed her because she looked earthy. And when I say she looked earthy, she just looked like she lived off the grid, right? Not like Sarah Connor, Terminator 2 off the grid, more like a Burning Man, Nevada desert, 1 week off the grid. Okay, she's seen some things. She had seen some things, but she was still able to go back to her apartment after the week was over. That's all she looked like. I am a huge, huge fan of TV shows people do not like to watch. Uh, I came across this one TV show called Extreme Cougar Wives, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just a TV show about older women who are with younger men. And this particular episode, there was a 45-year-old man dating an older woman. And I just thought, well, I mean, how much older could she be if he's 45? So it's his woman's birthday. The caterer brings out the cake. The number on the cake, 90. She was 90 years old dating this guy. And I thought, kudos. Wow. Because let me tell you something. I stopped putting my age on my birthday cake after 7. So I gave her props, man. And that's when I realized these boomers, they're out here living their best lives, okay? They're dating younger men. They're out here living their lives. They're partying like it's 1939. I'm like, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But the best part of the whole episode is that her man proposed to her and she said no. And I was like, wow. wow, she is my shero. Because I learned two things that day, people. I learned two things. One, if a man, women, if a man ever tells you you are going to die alone, he is lying. You have until 90 years old. Live it up. Live it up. That's number one. Number two, and this is for everybody. If you are 90 and someone half your age proposes to you, you always turn that down. You always say no. Because if they murder you, ah, it could look like natural causes. I'm just saying, protect yourself, people. Protect yourself. Okay. That's all I'm asking you to do. I actually think I'm a pretty good driver sometimes. And I went to a shopping center and I was turning into the parking lot and I abruptly stopped. And it made the woman behind me mad. So she like parks up next to me and she starts staring at me like she's mad at me. So I stare at her back. Because look, I'm not afraid to fight anybody who looks like Joe Biden. That's just not me. That's not me. Not until the police show up. That's the least. So I am Akua Doku. Thank you very much.
That was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Such a nice flow with what's going on. Tell us a little bit, if you would, Aquia, about like your process and your writing and the difference between, something like this, like I'm sure, doing a lot of like different Zoom, stand-ups and connections in that way. And then also being live as well, where you have maybe lines that maybe have worked with some audiences that maybe don't with that one, and like kind of being impromptu and working with people that are actually like saying things in the audience to you, which can often happen in a comedy club. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, with the writing process, usually I have to like at least write every day. Sometimes I'm supposed to write an hour, but sometimes I don't have an hour or I don't have enough material or ideas to write for an hour. So at least if I can write one or two jokes a day, I feel like, okay, good. I'm adding to my catalog of jokes, which I love. And I try to do things, watch things that really inspire me, like the documentary I just watched, or go out and see what's going on out in the world. I try to do that. But I think sometimes the hardest part about performing, like you said, is just sometimes the reactions. Like one thing I always get concerned about is I might drop a joke or I might forget a line. So I'm like, how do I come back from that? And like jump into something new and hopefully I can come back into the old joke. So I try to do that if I drop the line. But also if like even like with the Extreme Cougar Wives joke, it's about 2 weeks ago live and there was reaction. So I like to react. Someone was like, really? I was like, yes, girl, it was crazy. So I actually enjoy that interaction. It was only like one season, 3 episodes. So it really didn't have a long shelf life. I think the real reason I love that show was, because if it was reversed, I think some people still would have a problem if it was a 90-year-old man versus a 45-year-old woman. But I don't know how much people would feel like really like off-putted by it. But as a woman being 90 dating or someone 45, it's this weird stigma with women wanting to still have a life after a certain age or feel young or feel good or feel excited. So I'm like, if you feel like you can be vibrant at 90, be vibrant at 90. If you feel you can be vibrant at 70, be vibrant at 70. So that's why I really talk about it, because I really enjoy it. And I haven't had a man at least come up to me and say, what are you talking about? I've been waiting for that. That's never happened. So I think they're pretty cool with it. um, so I think that's cool. I think you just have to learn, because you have to have hecklers. Sometimes who are going to tell you things or say things to you. So you have to, work with it and be confident and just stand in your ground when it happens.
Any material that came to you in like maybe a crazy spontaneous moment at the market, out and about, and you saw it in a funny way, but it was really not really funny, but yeah, maybe you started laughing, or maybe people around you are like, why is she laughing? What, like any kind of situations like that that you could share with us?
Uh, uh, yeah, I don't. So many years ago, I was in New York, and look, I'm gonna just say this. It's not cool when a man makes you feel uncomfortable. That's what I'm gonna start saying. But I remember I was in the subway and some guy, I thought he might have been trying to pleasure himself as he was watching me in public. And I just was like, oh, and instead of being scared, I just laughed because I thought, really, you don't have nothing better else to like. I don't know. I just wasn't scared by it. It's not cool, but it wasn't. It was funny to me. And I was telling a friend of mine, he was like, "You thought that was funny? That's not cool." I said, "Yeah, I know it's not cool, but it's funny because it's weird, right?" No, I just thought it was hilarious. It didn't scare me. I don't know. It. I don't know. My mind is weird like that, but it's not cool. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. I was just like, yo, this dude is crazy, but why would he think this is okay? This is not okay. And I don't know, I kind of felt bad for him. I don't know. It was really weird. So maybe I shouldn't have told that story, but yeah, they were just like, I was just like, I don't know, it just didn't scare me. And maybe this could be a problem in the future. I don't know. I don't know.
And Aquia, has there ever been like some material, like maybe you wrote it down, or but maybe while you were in that process of kind of collecting material, you were like, I don't know if I can say this. I don't know if I can present this. And did you actually, if you have had that experience with a certain material, did you actually go ahead and present the material, and what was the result?
There have been a few things, um, but most of the time I want to try. I usually ask of somebody before I do it. If I'm really concerned about it, I'll ask someone because um sometimes what you may think is funny, it could be offensive. So I would like to at least run it by one person just to get an idea if it works. Um, but most of the time I'm okay with it because usually it's about me. So unless I'm, gonna talk about me in a negative way, I'm not gonna be too uncomfortable um saying it, or not me in a negative way, but if I feel like it's funny or something, then yeah. But only time I think I get a little concerned is if I'm talking about like something I'm not aware of, something I'm not sure about, and I will run it by somebody before I try to do it. Um, or unless it's on TikTok or something, then I'm just like, I really am trying to be careful because I remember I was watching something on TikTok and there was a woman saying how men only go to women who are heavier because they have low self-esteem. And I was like, that's not true. But I was responding to the first part of the video where she was saying that because like that's not true. Men don't just date women because they're heavier and they're easier. That's not true. But the response was different than the beginning of the reaction. So I thought maybe someone would think I was thinking the reaction was not true and I was being that. So I had to like pull back on the response because like it could have been taken out of context. And I think that's the only time I really get concerned because I like to make jokes about things people say on TikTok. And I'm like, well, things could be taken out of context because they don't hear my voice, they don't hear my inflection in my voice, they're not hearing the thought that's coming through my mind. So I try to be mindful of that stuff.
Mhm. We just have a few more moments of quiet. I had heard from a well-known comedian, and he said that society needs comedians because they tell the truth and they keep it real. What are your thoughts on that?
I do think so. I think comedians do that. But so many other people do that as well. They tell the truth, they keep society real. I see a lot of people doing that on TikTok, not just comedians, activists, some politicians, not all, but some um, who make the effort to try to help us be a better society. Um, but sometimes but yeah, I feel like comedians we're biased at times about what we see as truths and how we present it. And I think we do have responsibility to tell the truth, but everyone does in society. Comedians aren't the only ones who are speaking whatever they see to the people. We have so many people, activists, politicians, uh, everyone around us, motivational speakers. I mean, religious people are supposed to help us see truths, but that isn't always the case. So, I mean, you know, I feel like the main reason as comedians, we're here to make you laugh. Absolutely. Want to make you laugh, want to make you have a good time, make sure you're happy about what's happening in your life, or you had a moment to feel relief from a stressful day or stressful week. So I think that's very important as a community.
So, Aquia, I have a question for you. What is it like the moment before you step on the stage, and also with your experience performing live in comedy clubs in front of an audience? How has that experience helped to shape your delivery, your style, and how has it evolved?
Well, right before I get on stage, I'm always nervous. I have to run the bit I'm doing at least once so I can make sure I have all the parts together. Because if I don't, I might forget something, especially if I'm super nervous. I did a comedy festival a couple of weeks ago. I was super nervous. I was late because I went to California and I forgot traffic in California is bad. Um, and I was so nervous the first one. I ran like the first part of the bit, but I forgot the second part and I dropped a couple of things. So I'm always nervous. And I love the energy of nervousness because it gets me ready, but it also makes me feel like, oh, don't do anything wrong. Um, but once I get on stage and I start talking to the audience, and then just use that energy to get excited, to get hyped, to like feed off the audience members, and also just be able to react to them and see how they react to me, and just be able to try to get them to laugh. It's a great feeling. It really is.
Hmm. And in terms of shaping your style and evolving, have certain experiences kind of helped you to kind of um, move in a different direction during the next performance? Have you seen any changes with that?
Um, Well, a little bit, because I think as we grow, we see new and different things that we want to, talk about. Like, uh, but I still feel like I think the more I learn, the more I watch myself because I record my sets to see what did work well, what didn't work well. So I try to kind of um, lean into that to become a better performer. In the beginning, I would do this thing where whenever I had like a hiccup, I would try to cover it up by saying, you know what I'm saying? And it got so to a point, it was so out of hand. One of the club runners pulled me aside. He's like, not no offense, but you're kind of saying this phrase over and over again. And I was so grateful she did because I didn't realize I was doing that. So I started recording myself and then I picked up those kind of nuances in my style. So, after doing that, I wanted to make sure that whenever I did perform, I try to be concise, get to the point, stick to the script. Not to say I can never go off of it, but just to make sure that, like, because sometimes too much repetitive, saying the same word or phrase over and over again, you can kind of lose a crowd. So I just want to make sure that in terms of my style, that I'm, communicating well, um, hitting the jokes well. And if I do ad lib or, do something impromptu, that at least it's not just a repetitive phrase over and over again. So that's important to me.
Mhm. I give you so much credit because it's an area that you love. It's an area that you have so much passion about, and you're so real about it. And I just wanted to go back to earlier when you did the stand up. That you really light up. There was so much positivity and so much light coming off you, and just the way that you use your words and the way that you speak it. It was just wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And it also gives like a little insight into my family. I don't really talk too much about my family. And I'm trying to see what I can say, what I can say. Like, I don't want the family like, why did you say that? I'm like, oh, it's not bad. And like I even like ran the bit about my grandfather to my father to make sure it was okay. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So when he's okay with it, I'm like, okay, then we're good.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I really just I enjoy it because it's fun, and I just remember how I felt whenever watched a comedian on TV or on a movie, and how good it felt to feel like, oh, I'm not happy, but then I'll watch, something Bill Burr did, and I was like, oh man, I was just thinking that, and then he's saying it in his show. So I always think about that, and that makes it even more enjoyable for me.
Hmm. You're connected with other comedians and you watch other comedians on social media, TV and whatnot. Can you tap us into Aquia, what's going on currently with comedians? Are there certain trends? What are some of the things that you like and little pet peeves you could share with us?
I think most of the things I like is I love seeing comedians who do go impromptu with the audience. Some of my favorite comedic videos I've seen on TikTok are the ones where they're interacting with the audience, um, where they're just talking about where they're from, who why they're there. Those are really spontaneous and funny, and I think those really are really interesting. Um, I don't know. I don't have too many pet peeves. I feel like a lot of comedians are doing what they can do to improve their art, their style. So I don't really look for too many pet peeves. I get we all work on our craft. So we have our good days, our bad days. We have silence. Sometimes we don't want it. And we have laughs when we do. So but yeah, I really enjoy the spontaneity of videos when, especially if someone's heckling and then you have to figure out how to deal with that. A lot of comedians are really good at maneuvering around those types of situations.
Yes, I'm talking about like art. That is an absolute art and a skill to have, to think on your feet, to be in the moment, and to be able to give a line back that's so fast and that's so funny with what's going on, and you kind of like to move away from all the material that you presented. Do you
Right.
think that just comes in time and just kind of going back to the earlier question of just like, just like almost, many things is really just experiencing it and then you get better and you get better and you get better.
I absolutely agree with that. I think it's the time we put into the craft ourselves that really helps, because the more you do it, the more you become better. Like, I mean, I've been driving since 16. I'm pretty good. So, but it's just one of those things where the more you put the effort and work into it, the more you grow and it becomes easier. And especially if you start off with a group of people and then we all see from our infancy in comedy until we move into our adulthood of comedy, you see the growth in all the people you started out with and how much better they've gotten, how much they've grown. And so, and you can tell it's because they're putting the time and the work and the effort to be the best comedian they can be. And it's so obvious. And I like that. I like seeing that.
Hmm. Akoya, do you have a vision that you have for your comedy? And are there any particular venues that are well known that you would just love to perform at?
I do. I would love to be able to travel and do the comedy, not just in the United States, but overseas, which actually I'm going to get an opportunity to do next month, not next month, in November. Um, and some of the venues, Comedy Chateau, definitely want to try that out. It's in LA, the Ice House, just maybe the Hollywood Bowl. We don't know. But hopefully just some of those places. But really, I would love to just travel around, the state, different countries, and be able to perform in like different areas and just see how my comedy translates to different audiences. So that's really the goal for me.
Yes, yes. Well, we definitely will hold that for you of that coming true. As we move into closing, I would love for you to share. You host two different open mic nights. Can you tell us about that, Akuya?
Yeah, sure. So on Fridays, I host the afternoon mic, which is the Hail Mary / TJM comedy Zoom open mic. And we just have a lot of comics come in, work on their material, try out new material, have do their own material just to, get better. And then Friday evenings at 8:30 Eastern time, I do the Laughing Buddha comedy open mic, which is Zoom as well, and pretty much same thing. The comments come out, we try our new workout, old stuff out, just making sure we're getting better at our craft. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of like feeding off that energy. You're all in the same like mindset, the same vibe, doing the same thing, and can encourage and support each other. And it's a great outlet, as you were saying, to practice your material and see
Exactly.
how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. I really love it. It helps, like, I don't always do much during the hosting, but I always try a new joke out if I can't do a whole set just to see if it works, if it doesn't work, and then go from there.
Hmm. Any final comments that you'd like to share, Aquia, before we close the show out?
Yeah, this has been a great time. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And if anyone's in Chicago, there'll be a show I'm putting on with some great comics, October 27th at the Lincoln Lounge. And then also I'll be overseas in UK for a comedy festival. So yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Much success with these upcoming performances and with your comedy. And thank you so much for coming on Art and Talk, and thank you for pursuing comedy and making us laugh.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Aquia. All right, thank you everyone for watching Art and Talk's Impression Show. And if you are a comedian or have a comedian referral that would like to come on our Art and Talk Impression Show, please just send an email to viewoftheartist@gmail.com. We'll get back to you with scheduling so we can expand this genre for you. Please stay connected with us also on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook page. Please subscribe, like, and share. We appreciate your support. All right, so we'll talk soon on the next impression. Until then, be well and be blessed.